Welcome, Brennan and Michael. I'm so excited to talk with you today.
Hi, Maria. Thanks
Hello.
for having us.
Oh, my pleasure. I am very excited about all the things that you have going on. We were so fortunate that last week we were able to bring some of the team over to the project over on Marston Street in Brewerytown. And those houses are really looking fabulous through the Turn the Key program. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and what's going on?
Thanks for coming by, Maria. We enjoyed having you and your team walk through the properties, and nothing like seeing it firsthand. So yeah, we're, as you know, engaged in the Turn the Key product in partnership with the City of Philadelphia. We're building workforce housing. And so at this time, we have 3 projects underway. We're wrapping up in Grays Ferry. We have 88 homes nearing completion, or some portion of those nearing completion, in Brewerytown. And then we have additional housing in West Philly.
That is an extraordinary amount of product to be under construction all at the same time. I hear you have some really good people in your company who are keeping things moving.
Yeah, most developers, we have a development side and we own a construction side as well. So we keep everything in-house to control timelines, money, everything. So yeah, it's a lot, but it's moving.
It's moving. I'm curious. I know you've been in the investment arena since before the Great Recession. But what stimulated the move into workforce housing and partnering with the Land Bank and Angel and his team?
So we got into it before Angel. We got into it, I believe the first thing that we looked at was in 2016. It was 8 properties in Francisville. We won the RFP. We lost one. We ended up building 7 houses and selling them at a $250,000 price point. And then we just thought that, this was needed in areas, like we've been in every area of the city, built everywhere. So we just thought that as Philadelphians and people who believe in our city, that this is a needed thing for people to be able to own a home and stay in the city. And it's basically for the workforce of Philadelphia and the backbone of our city.
Yeah, we definitely need more product for the city workers. I mean, that's the first line of buyers for these properties, correct?
Yeah, so they rolled it out to city workers, but it's open to anyone. They're still marketing to the city employees. So we have 26,000 city employees.
So they get preference.
Yeah, they get preference.
The preference is to city employees, but the program is open to all, the general public.
So the properties themselves are really, really nice. And the price point at being the highest price point is $280. Is that correct?
Correct.
So yeah. You're getting 3 bedrooms and
2 baths.
Yeah, so you're getting
2 full baths.
Yep, you're in the 280. You're anywhere from 1,400 to 1,450 square feet, 3 bed, 2 bath. We also build in a $250,000 price point too, which is a 3 bedroom, 1.5 bath. And we do have some stock in a $230,000 price point.
A lot of options for very affordable homes. Not only is it affordable, what I find is remarkable about it is that soft second that goes away after 15 years. So you have, after that time, approximately, right, as $190,000 in equity right off the bat.
Yes, correct. Yep.
Yeah, it's an incredible opportunity and it needs to be a first-time home buyer. That's who this product is for. And for a first-time home buyer, it's an incredible opportunity to just walk right into a significant amount, really life-changing, right, generational wealth-changing amount of money just at go. So it's a fantastic program that the city's put together.
It is a fantastic program. And we talk about that all the time, about how to get more buyers into homes so that they can leave the renting scene and start to build equity over time. We know that homeowners have more net worth than folks that rent their whole life. So
exactly, they're more vested in the neighborhood, right? There's more pride of ownership, right? Streets are cleaner. There's no trash. I mean, it's a community.
It's a community. People look out for each other.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
right? They're your neighbor. They're another homeowner. There are people, more people that care,
Yeah,
which changes a whole block, changes a whole neighborhood as you
exactly.
have that. I think that if something isn't done, this is being done. We have to do more, of course, because there's so many. But you have to start somewhere. We know that if we look down the road 20, 30 years, if we're not putting more people that have been in generational pretty much poverty, if we're not adding more people into building generational wealth, the city is not going to be what the city could be, because we'll have more people that are, on the opposite side of the spectrum. And that's not going to help the city grow and prosper. And so this is like a really something that has to be done over a long period of time and continue. So out of reach for so many people, home ownership, but this program allows, I would say thousands and thousands of people, potential first time buyers into owning a home.
It's true. So it's interesting. So, sitting in the office every week, we have 2 or 3 settlements, people just parading in to purchase homes, and you get to talk to them, and it's just like, it's amazing, right? So they're city workers, young people who never thought they'd be able to own a home or in a position to own a home. And by the time they get out of there, between the turn the key, the Philly first, right? And all the other money that's out there from different banks and organizations to grab to really buy down the mortgage. These people are paying $1,100, $1,200 a month in an area where it's $1,600 a month to rent. So they're moving into built-in equity, right? And they're now homeowners. So it's awesome to see it. Like, I see it every week.
It must make you feel good. It's a win-win all the way around.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
great.
very exciting, very, very exciting program. But you've also are in the multifamily business as well, and owning apartments. And I think that's also an area that in Philadelphia has done really well over the last decade or so. I think now we're probably coming to a much more difficult time with all the new buildings coming up out of the ground. And what are your thoughts around all the new development?
So what do we have? 10,000 new units coming live, something like that.
Yeah.
And, and everything's about to hit in the next year or so. So it's going to be interesting. We do see it. We have had to normally where we would have people bumping into each other to move into the properties. Right now we are dropping rents, and it's interesting. We've never had to do that. So it is coming. So, it's going to be a struggle for some of these buildings that are coming online that are not in A+ neighborhoods that are trying to rent, and they're giving away 2 months of rent to get people in there. It's going to be interesting the next year or so.
Yeah, I think that it's going to take, I'm not, I think it's going to take some time to absorb all of those units.
Well, what do you
And
what do you think? I mean, you're data driven. What do you think? How long do you think it's going to take?
I think it's going to take a long time,
Yeah,
maybe 5 years.
yeah, I would definitely
There's
say
so
too.
much.
Yeah, so
And if,
much.
and if you haven't been in Philadelphia lately and driven down 95, when I had a friend who lives in Florida who used to live here. She came back last week and she was shocked about how many buildings have come up out of the ground. I mean, they're everywhere. And then people ask me this all the time. They say, why would developers build all these buildings? I said, well, the money was cheap.
Yep, money was cheap.
The money was cheap. You were
Yeah.
getting money at 3% or 4% or whatever it was. I mean, the performers worked. And
Yeah.
then, well, we know what happened then. So
Yeah. Now the performers don't work.
Now they don't work, and you got
So
to
when you're
find
throwing
ways.
offers out there, the owners don't want to budge because they still think they're sitting on this amazing location that's worth half of what it was.
Yeah. Well, we deal with that every day.
Ah, yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Every day.
Yep.
It's interesting. You always have to in real estate zig and zag. One thing's going, the other one's not going. So you go over there. Well, this one's just sitting over there, just kind of, it is what it is. I'm
Part of it.
really understanding, the market absorption. I know on the apartment side, I don't know. I usually have a lot of words, but it's a little scary. And then coupled with that, we have Center City where there's lots of buildings, C class and some B class buildings that will never fill up as offices again. So that's probably a 10+ year plan to turn all that around, I would think. And get more people into creating more bustling Center City like we used to have.
Yeah, it's hard. Some of those office buildings are going to be hard to turn into apartments. It's going to be interesting what happens with that. It just seems like right now, if you look at banks as a whole, they're just kind of kicking the can down the road and working with people and working out their loans. So at some point, they're going to pull the plug, and we're starting to see some of that now. I mean, there's several buildings in Center City going back to receivership. I mean, there's going to be more of that and more opportunity. Now, whether the banks and the buyers can come to a price, that'll be a different thing, but we'll see.
Time will tell.
Yeah, totally.
That's for sure.
I think there's going to have to be some really creative solutions, like not just converting to apartments, right? It can't just be that. There's going to have to be some new ideas coming into renovating those spaces and turning them into, I think, solutions probably that haven't ever existed before in urban areas. Going to have to start thinking out of the box for new uses for those properties.
I agree. I think you might see some biosciences move in. There's so much of that is happening in that whole arena.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also am a big fan of like the urban farming concept. I'd like to see some of these properties repurposed into like urban farming spaces within the city, like vertical farming. I think the technology's there. I think we just have to find people that are willing to bring it to Philadelphia.
It exists elsewhere.
Right.
You see these beautiful buildings with the vertical farming. It's really cool, actually. Can't remember. I saw it in Europe somewhere. Not remembering where right at the moment, but very interesting concept. There's also, this whole concept of bringing all of these different types of properties together and having everything in one spot. So working, living, retail, all combined. I think that's kind of a cool idea as well. You have one-stop shop building.
Mm-hmm.
So you never have to leave your building?
You never have to leave your building.
Oh, that sounds like a nightmare.
Not for some people. Not for some people.
I
It's possible.
know. For someone like me, that would drive me nuts. I got to get out there.
You got to get out. Today is the marks 4 years of real estate became non-essential in the state of Pennsylvania when they shut everything down. It was March 19th, 2020.
Today's the date of that COVID when we were all shut down. Okay. Wow.
Today's the day.
Today is the day. You're totally right. I didn't even pick up on that.
Today is the day.
They shut you down too, right?
I didn't hear you.
Shut you down?
Yeah, we were shut down.
Yeah, we got shut down. One of our projects was going, but they shut down. They shut us down. Shut a lot down.
And so I thought about that this morning, and what do we learn from that? We learned that, well, I guess I did anyway, that there's no certainty. We think that there's certainty and we live as if there is, because as humans, we like to live that way, but there really is no certainty. And hello?
Yep,
Yeah, we're here.
We're here.
Oh, give me a second.
Okay.
That's okay. This gets edited anyway.
Oh, good. They can edit.
So there is no certainty. That's what I learned. And I thought about this morning when, you have all these things that are coming out with the lawsuits and real estate fees and this and that. And a lot of people are misguided on that and what that means. It's craziness that's happening. I don't know if you're aware of it, but it's crazy.
So read a little bit about it. Tell me about what's going on, because I know you.
So the long and short of it is this: NAR, amongst other big corporations like Remax, KW, some other firms, had settled with these class action lawsuits. And what NAR has stated that in the MLS, there will no longer be a spot for buyer agency compensation. That doesn't mean that you don't pay buyer agency compensation. That means that it's not going to be listed next to the property anymore as of July. So there's a lot of misconceptions that people think, well, seller doesn't have to pay a buyer's agent. Well, the seller never had to pay one. Commissions were always negotiable. However, if you like to have the most attraction to your property and buyer agents to bring offers, especially if it's, under, well, I would say not even under, just in general, let's just say that in general, then you would still offer a buyer compensation. The buyer compensation, though, will come from the listing broker, not directly from the seller. Although at the end of the day, people will say, well, the seller pays a commission. And then other people will argue, well, the buyer pays a commission built into the price of the property.
Yeah.
So, but it has to come from the seller. It comes from the seller and the listing agent negotiating what that is. Mm-hmm. And so if somebody said to me, well, I only want to pay you, Maria. And I would say, well, then we're limiting our exposure in the marketplace. People aren't going to work for free. Fact. So then there's that other part of it. Now, the issue that a lot of agents have is that they never had to negotiate their fee. The listing broker, me, negotiates for them. So, and a lot of places in the country, so we at our firm always practice buyer agency. So if you're working with us, we represent you as a buyer, you sign buyer agency, we explain you the fees. And if the seller offers X and X is less than we get paid, then you bring the difference of X. A lot of times this comes into effect with investment properties because there's a small amount. So we have a minimum that we negotiate with our clients. Now, and we do buyer agency consults for regular buyers. So before we even work with them, we sit down for an hour and a half and go through all this, just like we do a listing consult.
Sure.
But the other people in the industry do not practice it. They just open doors, they go and run and show the house. So if you don't show people value, then you're going to have a big problem moving forward in the future, because when you are representing a buyer and you are showing them a house, you now have to have the buyer agency signed before. They have to know what they're going to be paying if they are going to be paying you. So people are up in arms about it because they never practiced it professionally.
That's good. It's making everybody a level playing field, and the people who are practicing it, like yourself, have the upper hand, right?
It'll be a whole new game for a lot of people. And so you'll have a lot of people that don't do it, pretty much, I guess 50% don't do much business at all. They'll probably end up exiting So it's an opportune time for sure. I'm pretty excited about it.
That's awesome.
Actually.
Good.
That's great.
Yeah, I think that it's going to raise the bar. I think that, I mean, we have offers that come from other agents, and unfortunately, it's a mess. It's a mess. They never have all the paperwork. Things aren't done right. It's sloppy. It's a hot mess. And we have to actually we have to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to eliminate a bunch of that. So you have a lot of people that are, you know, they're scared. And I said, well, you just keep calling, get more listings.
Exactly. It's opportunity. It's awesome.
All about listen, work works. You know that. We came from the same fabric, right?
Yeah.
Three of us. Working our butts off, coming from
action oriented, making it happen, right?
Making it happen, being the solution.
Exactly.
Which is how this came into existence. It was
Nice.
COVID that caught. Be the solution. How can we be the solution? So in your business, you have now, gosh, how many contractors work in your company? How many people do you have in your company now?
So
I think our latest count is 17.
17. Yeah. So that's growing.
Yeah.
Significantly.
Yeah. We went from, Mike and I for the longest time had no staff. And it wasn't until we decided to open the construction, take the construction in-house that we started to really grow the team.
Well, that's really the only way that you can make the program work is if you do the construction in the house, right? In-house.
It certainly helps. We like to have, just Mike said earlier, really want to have the ability to hone the numbers, right? There's not a huge margin in what we're doing. And so we have to keep a super close eye on that. And so having a bit more control in that space allows us to keep a better eye on those margins and have an impact on the margins.
And also most importantly, quality control.
Fact.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the most important.
Yeah, it is. We're incredibly proud of, I think a lot of times folks think because it's a workforce home or an affordable home that it's not going to be a high quality product. And we're extremely proud of the product that we're putting out there. And I know you got to view, the homes the other day, and I was pleased to hear your team, express that they saw it that way as well. Cause we really do take.
Yes, we did. It's a solid house. I mean, it is built very well. And I've been selling new construction for, let's see, I'm 20 years in, 17, 18 years. And I've seen all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff. It's a really amazing program. I think that getting the word out there to more people, more Philadelphians, letting them know about it is critical. I mean, you go up Marston Street, the block is beautiful. I can't believe how different, the block is. It must have been bombed out hard.
Yeah. It's
horrible before.
It was pretty wild. So before we started, I had our video guy do drone footage of the block before we started. I have drone footage of the middle of construction, and as we're finishing up right now, he'll go back once the street is completed and paved, and he'll do that same shot, and it's just wild. It's going to be, the transformation's unbelievable.
The transformation is unbelievable. And not only that, but you just helped raise the neighborhood standard in regards to everything that's around there, right? So it's now that house that's the next block over is worth more money.
Yeah, totally. It's interesting because all these abandoned lots, they just get dumped on and trash, and so we're taking all that and putting a house there with people with affordable housing and helping people get to home ownership and bringing taxpayers to the city and turning a vacant piece of land into a home for somebody.
Yeah, we've certainly seen that in other communities where it was more infill lots, like what you saw, Maria, the other day in Brewerytown. We had an opportunity to build quite a few, I think it was 33 or 35 homes on a single block. But it's not always the case, right? And sometimes it's just infill lots, one or two a block, but in a in a short radius or a small radius. And we've had input and feedback from homeowners in those communities to say, like, thank you so much for infilling this lot, because there was nothing good going on that lot. Like, people are coming there and dumping, people are doing drugs there, like they're making deals there, whatever, like it. And so the community members will come out and say, thank you. Like, it's changed the block, right? We no longer have this eyesore or this problem area, and it's a quieter block now because of it. So it's great all around for the communities, and it's just hopefully lifting up each of those areas to make it a better place to be.
Absolutely. So tell me, how many lots does the city have that they can hand out? Well, not hand out, but you know what I mean.
So this initiative is strictly 1,000 homes, but that's not to say that the city doesn't have more land than that. I forget the exact numbers of what the land bank or what the city has. And I know that only a fraction of them are buildable, but it's certainly thousands, like over 5,000.
Yeah. So the city, until the sheriff's sale opens back up and the city's able to take more lots that people aren't paying taxes or just abandoned houses, whatever that looks like, right? The mayor's initiative is to have 30,000 of these in her first term, right? And our company's committed to help her get there. We're probably the biggest in the space. So the faster all of this, the city could take the land, it could be transferred into the land bank, and RFPs can be put out. The faster we can get to that 30,000 goal. It's an ambitious goal, but if we hit 25% of it, we're just making a huge dent in something that's needed for our city.
Wow. 30,000 in 4 years.
Yeah.
Units, affordable units.
Affordable
so that
units.
Would be multis, it'd be single family, it'd be the whole enchilada, if you will. It's a big goal.
That's ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
It's ambitious.
That is ambitious. I hope it gets done. Or even, like you said, 25%.
Right.
Would be remarkable.
Exactly. It would be amazing.
Because just think from 15 years from now, how much those homes will be worth when the people decide or they want to sell them. They'll be worth quite a bit. I was thinking this morning walking in, because I'm in the month of my 20th anniversary in real estate. And I closed my first property on March 31st for $399,000 at 6th and Fitzwater.
Nice.
It was a new build. And then my second property I sold was a 4-unit quad on the 500 block of Pine. So what I was thinking about was the clients, there were 2 doctors that bought it, and they paid $1,050,000. And it's worth all of at least $2 million today. So I was thinking 20 years, property's worth $2 million. And probably maybe more, but just on the low end. And I thought about that and I said, wow, how about that? The mortgage is probably put a lot down. The mortgage is probably paid off. And if that money wasn't invested in real estate and invested in something else, would it have been as successful? So over time, 20 years went by real quick, but over time, real estate always tends to be a very good return on your investment.
That's really interesting, Maria. You make me think, because I bought my first property in 2003. That wasn't my first investment property in 2003. So I was a year ahead of you. I'll have to check the rent or the month of closing, but we bought in the same neighborhood, because I bought my first property in Queen Village as well.
How about that? But if you think about that, and it's weird, I think about weird things, but that's what's my walk
all the time.
My walk in this morning, I was thinking about my whole 7-minute walk. That's what popped into my head. Because I was like, I have to do something to celebrate this 20 years. And then I realized the 31st was on Easter. So that's not going to happen on that day. So I had to make up another day.
We'll celebrate later this week.
Yeah, there's lots. So I always like to ask a couple fun questions. Guilty pleasures.
Go ahead.
Just in general, like what are your guilty pleasures?
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is chocolate for me, dark chocolate, but it's not that guilty. It could be worse.
Yeah, I'm looking at a thing of Girl Scout cookies that I bought off my daughter. I can definitely eat a box of those. No one's looking.
We've had those in the house way too long now.
Yes.
Guilty pleasures. Cookies and chocolate.
What about you?
Dark chocolate, wine, red wine. Yes.
Okay. You're like
Guilty
Brendan.
pleasure. I love that. And good, really, really good food.
Yes.
Yeah, I like really good beer.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Guilty pleasures. And what are you most excited about coming up?
Personally, travel, professionally, just ramping up more affordable housing, right? We're ready to take this to the level where we're doing hundreds of these a year. And I feel like the wheels are in motion to take it there. And I'm just excited about the possibility of making that happen and actually executing upon it.
Yeah, same. I mean, business-wise, we have about 64 more houses up in Brewerytown that we're getting ready to break ground on with PHA. So I'm excited about that. I mean, it's we have $25 million of development going on in that neighborhood. So yeah, it's exciting to help go into an area and just completely change it.
Yeah, it's super, super exciting. I love it. It's great. This was a great episode. You gave us a lot of information, and I'm really excited for your continued success. You both are great, and you bring such amazing spirit and energy in our industry, and just good people. So thank you so much for being on Be the Solution podcast. I wish you both the best and happy traveling. Exciting times ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to see you soon.
Yes, we are.